All right. Greetings, listeners. I'm KJ.
And I'm Matt.
And this is Matt and KJ talk about movies. I This is under special circumstances. We don't have. I guess we have a topic today. But Matt and I were having a text conversation, and we decided to call an emergency episode to continue our discussion. And we figured we'd record it because our conversations are inherently deeply interesting.
Fascinating, and everyone should hear.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we'll call this Man Cage to talk about Steven Spielberg. Is that what we're talking
and that's
about?
what, we were. I am disappointed we didn't just immediately start recording it right off the bat because it's rare that, especially for me, that I just start talking about something and then really I was getting passionate about it.
Well,
I was heated.
Well, so we were talking about what we were going, because we're looking at January, and I guess we'll probably eventually see that Black Panther or whatever, but January is just fucking depressing in terms of movie releases. That's pretty huge. I read I was thinking about maybe doing that Commuter, but I've heard middling reviews on that.
I don't even really care. I mean, I'll see it.
But
I'm sure we could.
If it was actually surprisingly good or fucking terrible, then maybe. But I'm just hearing mid stuff about I don't know if we could talk about it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of past my Liam Neeson badass stage.
Yeah, I think everybody's. I heard it. I think it kind of flopped, so I think everyone's tired of it at this point. So we're talking about maybe doing something a little bit more broad, some sort of topic instead of doing a specific movie, and we just kind of started talking randomly about Steven Spielberg. So we'll continue the discussion. Really, not too much specific was said, and man, you got very passionate. We were really just talking.
We're just fucking around because you just asked me who my favorite director was, which was tough. Because I know, I'm assuming you're still Tarantino.
I don't know. That's actually a hard question for me. I do like Tarantino still a lot.
Okay.
Interesting. I don't know if his movies were the movies that got me. I feel like those got me into film as a topic of study, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
That first got me interested in sort of analyzing movies and stuff like that. So I do love me some fucking Tarantino.
Right.
But that's the thing. I'm trying to think of other people who I've watched every single movie they've ever made. Because I almost feel I couldn't say there are directors I really like, but I haven't watched every single movie they've ever made. So I fucking love the Coen brothers, but I haven't seen every movie they've ever done.
Right. I couldn't tell you too much off of that. Because the only fucking. Oh, Jesus. I'm actually having trouble thinking of a timeline.
For Coen brothers?
No. Years ago, some amount of years ago, I would have been able to say confidently, my favorite director is Wes Craven, for example.
Right.
But I've kind of fallen out of that. And other than him, I don't think I've ever had one that was so definitive in my mind. I just kind of like shit.
Sure, I'm more along the lines of there are a lot of directors I like. Tarantino will always hold a very special place in my heart.
Right.
So if you were gonna say do I have one, then yeah, we go with him. He'll like I said, he'll always be very very special. But yeah, I like the Coen brothers. I mean, I like some other fucking. Now my mind's blanking because we're talking. But you know, there are other. I like Steven Spielberg. That's what we're
obviously I like that. That was where the meat of the discussion was.
Yeah, well, because I just asked you. I said, "Who's your favorite director?" And you said Edgar Wright.
Yeah, it was out of nowhere because when you first asked me that, I was like, "Oh shit, I don't fucking know." And then it just hit me because I told you that incident with my sister, and I was like, you know what? Actually, probably, if I'm just gonna go off like consistent, like movie after movie, everything I've seen from him, I have at least enjoyed. I believe I can't remember if is it just World's End?
Yes.
I always mix up the Pirates of the Caribbean title with the.
They both have the same
I think it's At World's End and then The World's End.
The World's End, because I think that's certain reference to the tavern.
Yeah.
That they have to go to or whatever.
So World's End is like that's his bottom for me.
Okay.
And I still liked it though. It was all right.
Yeah. Oh well, that's kind of how I feel about Tarantino. Is that I have seen every Tarantino movie. I've even like gone out of my way to watch like stuff that like maybe he wrote the script for, like True Romance.
Did he write From Dusk Till Dawn, or was he just in it?
I think he was just in it, but I did watch that as well. He did random punch-up work on Crimson Tide.
Interesting.
I watched that on TV once just because I knew that. And you can definitely tell what scenes he came in to write. Because there's like a part where Denzel Washington and another character get into a random argument about who was the best artist on Silver Surfer. Like, Quentin Tarantino fucking wrote this scene.
Right. I do enjoy Tarantino has such a unique, like you said, you can just kind of tell.
Oh yeah.
And I watched like a news clip where he was talking to I don't even know if she was actually a movie critic or what, but they were talking about one of his movies. I'm guessing she was some kind of film critic. I never heard of her or anything, but and he was like, he's so unapologetically committed to his style, like no wavering. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, he will fucking fight you.
Yeah. I watched that one random CSI episode he directed. And he definitely directed that because, again, the characters started having a conversation about random other things that didn't pertain to the plot, which I enjoyed.
Right.
I was like, yeah, I can tell. This is something about the way he writes dialogue that I just really like. His scripts are very wordy, which I appreciate.
Yep. Wordy, but they flow.
Sure, it's I love me some Quentin Tarantino, but I don't think Quentin Tarantino has ever made a movie I didn't at least enjoy.
Right.
Have you seen every movie Edgar Wright's ever made?
No, but I've seen all his big ones, I think.
Okay.
But he's got like a fuck ton of like no name random shit. So yeah. No,
I watched his student film. It's on the I have like a kick-ass version of oh no. I have like a kick-ass version of Hot Fuzz DVD.
Yes, I remember your set.
Yes, and he has a student film he made. It's like a shitty cop movie. And it's pretty terrible. I don't even know if it was a student film. I think it's something he made in like high school. It feels like that. I thought it was fun to put that on there.
Yeah.
And the most fun was that it had commentary by Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, who had nothing to do with it, so they just sat there and like riffed on it.
Dope.
for like an hour. It was pretty funny.
And that's a duo I adore.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Edgar Wright, that's solid. Edgar Wright's a very good director.
Yeah, I've seen all his big ones, and then I've watched. Did he do every episode?
Of what?
Spaced.
Oh, you.
He
Not
did
sure,
14 episodes. I know the show was pretty short. That might be every episode. Hold on. Yeah, that was every episode.
Yeah.
So he directed Spaced. I've seen the entirety of Spaced. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't watched. I have not watched Spaced.
Also has Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Right. I've been meaning to get around to that at some point, but
It used to be on Netflix, and Kyle and I watched it together forever ago. I remember enjoying it. I haven't seen it in a long time.
But so we started talking because I had figured he was gonna say Matt was gonna say Spielberg, but he didn't. He didn't.
I didn't.
But we kind of started talking randomly about Spielberg, and I don't want to. I almost said he's like a very underappreciated director, which would be a.
I believe your exact quote was. Hold on, let me just look up because it was funny. Because I said Spielberg didn't even cross my mind, and then I said even though Spielberg would technically be a strong contender as well, he's kind of okay. I have this thing with John Williams, like when in composing.
Right.
Where, like, I'll say, like, okay, somebody will ask me, like, who's your favorite composer? I'll be like, okay, someone like Hans Zimmer or something. I really like Hans Zimmer. But I think John Williams is, like, the best composer. Like, he's on his own level. Like, you think of the Jurassic Park theme.
Yeah.
That shit can't go with anything. You can't put the Jurassic Park theme over, like, clips from fucking... like Lord of the Rings or something.
Sure. Something about that just says dinosaurs to me. I don't know.
Right,
exactly.
It's so attached to the franchise. It's so iconic and unique.
Yeah. We've had this discussion about John Williams before,
Yes.
and I think the way you put it was that I can't say he's my favorite composer because that would be it would feel like cheating.
Basically, yeah. Whereas, like, Hans Zimmer, you can put that over other stuff. And you can, what did I say about, like, you can have a debate over that kind of stuff. Like, what his strengths are and shit like that. Whereas John Williams, you kind of just have to accept the fact that he...
He what? Matt, are you still there?
Yeah, no, I just blanked for a second.
Okay. To make sure you didn't die.
Yeah, no, I didn't die yet.
Well,
in the same way I was applying, like, Spielberg, okay, maybe not in, like, he's the greatest filmmaker of all time, but he's so iconic that it's hard to, and like we were saying, we were discussing, I don't come across ever anyone who debates fucking Jaws or something like, oh, well, this is...
I'm sure there's plenty of fucking assholes that would, but I've never met any.
I've never fucking heard one argument. I'm, like you said,
Jaws is the shit. Like, for real. We'll get to Jaws. This is an interesting topic, because we'll have lots of movies we can talk about. Right. I was thinking we just one of these days, I just wanted to like get on the mic with you and just circle jerk over some shit we like, and right. This can be a good excuse to do that. But to me, I was thinking about this, like, it's interesting Spielberg and Williams work together so much because they're very similar across two different fields in that it's like they can just come up with iconic stuff while they're on the toilet.
Yeah.
Like iconic cultural milestones. just kind of drop out of their ass as they're walking around.
Right. And like anybody, they both have things where you don't know that kind of shit. Like Spielberg has plenty of like, take like Indy 4 or something.
Oh, sure, yeah.
They both have plenty of shit that nobody remembers or fucking thinks about, but they have so many. What did I said? There's no one alive who doesn't adore at least several of Spielberg.
I would say probably in the last 10 years, Spielberg's kind of dropped off.
Sure.
But, I mean, the guy has had an illustrious fucking career up to that point. And it's not like he just makes shit anymore or anything, but, like, yeah. I'd say, like, I consider Spielberg to be part of what I consider, like, a holy trinity, right?
Right.
Of people who worked in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, and basically, in my opinion, molded pop culture as we know it today, right?
Exactly.
That is Steven Spielberg, Shigeru Miyamoto, and Stan Lee. Like, those three are all very similar to me, in that it's like they just, like I said, they just would to go take a shit and would come up with something that was culturally iconic, like continuously. And it's like not a ton of creators are able to do that. A lot of people, like when you look at things that are so iconic, that's the only thing that they did like that. George Lucas made Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I guess he had a little bit of a hand in Indiana Jones, but, like, I don't know how much of that, but...
Right.
Which was also Steven Spielberg, but, you just look. You just look, how many of those Marvel characters were made by Stan Lee? Every single fucking one of them. Like...
All the ones that anybody gives a single flying fuck about.
Shit about is Stan Lee. And it's like, yeah, it's just like, it's like the guy would just come in every fucking day and be like, hey, I got a idea for another fucking character. And then, 30 fucking years later,
I got more gold. Fucking get ready.
Yeah, I just took a fucking shit and came up, I went to take a pee and I came up with the Hulk. What about Big Green Guy? There we go. Fucking iconic. Spider-Man. All the X-Men. I was reading about the X-Men, and he literally came up with that because he was lazy. He's like, I want to do a team book, but I don't want to come up with all the fucking origin stories of these people. He goes, mutants, whatever. Iconic. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, just whatever he did.
And there's no way that's just because of the name attached to it. I don't think people are that fucking... just... At least to get it to the level that these kinds of, like Stan Lee's characters are at, or Steven Spielberg's movies are at.
Yeah.
Like, they are fucking quality, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not... obviously, I'm familiar with the two of the other guys in terms of Spielberg and Miyamoto. They make quality fucking shit. Or at least most of the time. I've never really I don't think I've ever read a Stan Lee comic, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to assume so. I think people like his... I think both of them have, or all three of them have gone, kind of fallen off at the end, but everyone does that, and that's fine.
That's going to happen. It's all right.
Yeah. I mean, he made fucking Hulk and X-Men and Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and fucking everyone... So, something, something about those characters became iconic. He had some hand in that. And then you look, and it's like every fucking Nintendo character, Shigeru Miyamoto, every single fucking one.
I hadn't even considered him, for the interactive arts aspect.
Yeah,
that is a really good example.
Yeah, just... whatever, every single fucking thing You know, I mean, a guy basically invented modern video games, and it's like the guy, like I said, he just comes up with shit, and then it's iconic.
So that's like just it's the quad. We got Stan Lee on like comics,
Right?
fucking Spielberg movies, John Williams music, Miyamoto games.
Yeah. And then I don't know about writing because I don't read nothing. I don't read them books.
I don't read nothing neither. So
I don't know if there's like a writer like that. But I think Williams is so like tied in with Spielberg. But like,
which was interesting because that didn't even cross my mind when I was like comparing the two. But yeah, it is interesting that they work so much together.
Yeah, but you go like, who came up with that theme? Who did that theme? John Williams.
Of course, it was John Williams.
I think I might have had that with my sister one time many years ago. Well, who came up with that? John Williams. What about that? John Williams.
That was John Williams.
You think of a fucking iconic... Yeah, if you think of an iconic score, it was probably John Williams.
Yeah, and then... Well, that's neither here nor there.
I mean, other people came up with iconic ones, too, but like...
For sure, but it's just like, again, it's the consistency of it. It's just like you said, like they just went to fucking... just do some business, just being lazy, and it was like, oh, here's another fucking gold iconic.
Yeah,
fucking thing.
it's like most people can't like, again, if someone's going to, come up with one thing. But, like, these people were just able to just... I mean, you look at this shit. I mean, I just went to Miyamoto's thing, and it's, like, just classic after classic for fucking years, you know? Games that... And that's a little bit easier to... Because it's all, like, if it's got Nintendo in it, then it's probably him, or he has some, hand in it.
Yeah.
But, or with Stan Lee, it's like Marvel. If it's anything Marvel during that period, he had some hand in it, but you have to, like, think that, like, modern Marvel's literally, like, and Marvel's so fucking huge right now, as we all know. That's all him. He built that, that company or whatever.
Yeah. Like everything they're making movies on.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, yeah.
There's a reason he cameos in, like, every fucking single one.
Yeah. But Spielberg.
See, that's interesting to me. I just had, like, a little random thought. Like, I was just thinking about John Williams and... I started... Okay, this is going to sound weird. I was thinking about John Williams, and my thought process was, like, it's just, like, weird to me that it's nothing, like, super fucking crazy, complicated, intricate fucking arrangements and composures or something. It's all generally, quote, it's simple, quote unquote, or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess, like, take Jurassic Park. But it's... For some reason, it's just fucking super iconic. Like, it's not like Beethoven shit where it's fucking. And I wonder why it's so it sticks so hard. Like it's hard to just forget how the theme of Jurassic Park goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you don't go like, fuck, how did that?
Well,
sound?
I mean, you think about Jaws. That's so iconic.
Same
and
thing.
All it is, yeah. Don't, like... But, it's brevity is the soul of wit. It doesn't have to go real complicated. That's the thing about... I think if you want something to be really iconic, it has to be simple to an extent.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, something Spielberg does. And Spielberg does not make
Well, yeah, and
super complex movies.
Right, and that's what I was getting at when I was like talking about like Hitchcock or Kubrick or Lynch or something. Yeah, they're like crazy talented, like masters of their craft or whatever you want to say.
Right.
But they can be, debated and talked about like they have their audiences and shit, and it's like, well, I see this and the complexity of this. Whereas Spielberg is like the master in filmmaking of, like you said, just a minimalist kind of thing in a way, where he's really, really fucking good at making solid mass appeal pictures.
Well, I think he is so good, and I think his talent is giving the audience what they want while also not speaking down to them.
Exactly, and he does it like crazy stupid well.
Yeah, like you don't. I've never felt like, you watch a Spielberg movie and like you feel good, you watch it, and like, you feel it. And it doesn't like, it's not, they're not challenging movies to watch. They're very easy to watch. But, well, except for, some of them. And we'll get to those. Because I know you and I both fucking love Saving Private Ryan, which is that kind of movie, because he can do that.
That's true. Yep.
Schindler's List is another one. But, like, you watch a Raiders or Jaws or Jurassic Park or whatever, and, like, those are very easy movies to watch. They don't challenge you in any kind of way or really subvert your expectations in any kind of way. But yeah, he doesn't treat you like an idiot either.
No. Because I think he genuinely enjoys what I think you actually brought this up one time. Like, he's so good at, because he actually genuinely likes that stuff. He likes what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
if it was like, I don't want to misattribute the quote. I want to say it was David Lynch. But again, this could be totally wrong, where he said like, we all have to do, when we make movies, we have to make what we love, or whatever. And he said, like, Spielberg just happens to love movies that everybody else loves.
Exactly.
And that's good for him. And David Lynch has to make his weird fucking shit. But I think that's, like, at the core of his appeal, is that he makes movies because he was fucking born to make movies. He loves making fucking movies.
And that is a really interesting little thing that I just thought, I just thought of Michael Bay.
Yeah, who just makes movies to make shitloads of money, yeah.
He's really good in the business aspect of it, but he doesn't actually fucking...
No, it's clear he does not have, like, a deep love of cinema.
Right.
Like Spielberg does. And you can say, oh, Spielberg's movies are for fucking babies, and I'm too cool for fucking Spielberg movies, but, like...
Fuck you.
Yeah, but for real, though. The guy loves what he does. He fucking loves movies, and that's what he does. And he's made some kick-ass fucking films. So fuck off.
God damn it.
God damn it. What is your favorite Steven Spielberg film, Matt?
It's between Raiders and Jaws.
Really?
Yeah, well, both. Both are fucking great.
Yeah.
And B, both have like super significant roots in my childhood.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you're not doing Jurassic Park.
Also, Jurassic Park. I don't know, because. All right, let's.
Matt is like obsessed with Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, interestingly enough, is the one. Jurassic Park is for movies what Steven Spielberg and John Williams and that shit is for for directing
We're
and
really going
composing.
down the fucking rabbit hole here.
Rabbit hole here.
So
Dude,
this movie that
like
both
Jurassic
of them worked on is also them to
it's
movies? What does that mean?
so fucking iconic and so ingrained in my childhood that I forget about it. I don't.
You don't feel like it's fair to put it in the running.
Right. It's just hands down. It's for me. It's perfect. It is actually perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't even think about it. It's the same thing. It's on its own level.
Well, I think he has. I think okay. We're talking about the big three, right? Because those are the two you brought up.
Yes.
Some of them I'm not as familiar with. I watched E.T. as a kid a couple times.
I like DT.
I liked E.T., but I wasn't like in fucking love with it.
No, me neither.
But
I definitely really liked it.
I remember
I loved it as a kid.
I like to watch it again at some point, but to me, you talk about the big three, right? It's Jaws,
Yeah.
Raiders,
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
These are very important. These are important films. Me personally, I think Jurassic Park might be the weakest of the three for me. But it's not like they were splitting hairs.
I mean, that's fair. Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's not a fucking
me,
great movie, because
for me, it's perfect.
For you, it's what?
I said that's why I said, like, for me personally, it's perfect. That's
yeah. I'm not saying it isn't perfect, because it kind of is. It's almost there for me. I consider Jaws to be perfect. Jaws is a perfect film. Raiders also kind of a perfect film.
Right.
Jurassic Park may be slightly less perfect.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think Jaws is my favorite. Jaws is. I try to think.
And a quick distinction, just for the no audience. KJ's the more analytical. Like, let's break this down. Look at I mean, admittedly, I'm more based off just feeling, just gut. I don't look. I like to analyze, but
you're just you look at the overall package. I look at the moving parts.
Right.
And
which is why I think we'd make a great team.
Well, we do. We are a team because we do this.
We do. We are. Yeah.
You want to start a podcast?
Hey, we should do that.
We should start a podcast.
We should do things together.
This thing we're recording, dude.
That would be cool if we did this together.
Okay, look. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Jaws. I watched Jaws. Now I don't make films, okay? I'm just an analyst. I look at them and, like, sometimes I watch a good movie and I start picking it apart, and people think I don't like it, or they think I'm being a bum ass or whatever, but I'm almost never going to say that was a fucking great movie, and then that's the end of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I'm like, well, you could have done this. That doesn't mean it's not good. I'm a third party observer. You know. That's what I do. Jaws, I don't know if anything could be changed in Jaws to make it better.
That's fair.
Like, Jaws is like A New Hope to me, where it's you watch it and it feels as if there's nothing to take away, there's nothing to add. Like, I don't think you could take a scene out of Jaws and it would still work. You know what I mean? And, like, I don't think there's anything that needs to be added to Jaws to make it work better. It's just
like
it's
fat is trimmed off.
It's exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah.
You know, and like you think you watch it and you just think, little baby Jesus, that that fucking animatronic didn't work well because it's so restrained. It's exciting. It's scary. You like the characters. Like,
Do you remember when you first saw it? Out of
yeah,
curiosity.
I saw it. I saw it as a teenager. My mom showed it to me. My
Oh,
mom
okay.
showed me lots of cool stuff. She also showed me Alien. That's the first time I watched that when I was a teenager. No, Jaws has developed into like a adulthood, if you can call it that. Favorite of mine. I did not watch it as a child.
Okay, that's cool.
I watched
Because
it when I
that
was
was my
14, 15, something like that.
that was my one concern was, yeah, I was saying Raiders and Jaws had such, they're so deep rooted in my childhood. Like my first time seeing Jaws is one of the most vivid memories in my entire film viewing life.
Yeah.
It might be because I can't even remember. I couldn't even recall the memory of first seeing Jurassic Park. It's just been
Yeah, that's
so many times.
for me.
So,
Jurassic Park and Raiders were like childhood favorites of mine.
exactly. Same thing with Raiders. Jurassic Park, I actually can vividly recount the memory of seeing it for the first time, and I I had nightmares for years and years about my family being because we lived on the beach. We lived by the ocean when I had seen it, and for years after. So for years, and we would go to the beach all the time. So forever, I just had vivid nightmares of my family members being killed by a shark at the beach. Because that one scene where the boy's out on his fucking floaty, his raft thing.
I've always said there are two kinds of people in this world. There's people who've seen Jaws, and there's people who swim in the ocean. Like, if you go to a beach and you see motherfuckers swimming in the ocean, those people haven't seen Jaws.
They didn't see it.
I consider it. I literally, but we were talking about this. We've had multiple discussions about it. I consider it the best horror movie ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
It
doesn't even feel like a horror movie, but it fucking is actually when you look at it.
Yes, and it instills, like you said, it's horror in the sense that it instills this deep, irrational fear, which it did for so many people. Again, like you said, yeah, people have seen Jaws, people have not.
Like, not to talk shit on any of these movies because I love them, but like like Exorcist or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like those are, pretty scary movies or disturbing movies or whatever, but like I don't take them with me anywhere.
No,
I love watching them. They're fucking great movies, but like Jaws, I won't swim in the ocean.
The only thing that ever came close in the sense it gave me recurring nightmares for a solid period of time. It didn't last as long as Jaws did. Was Halloween. That one just really hit me for some reason. First time I actually watched the first Halloween, that fucking stuck with me. I would have nightmares about a thing, but Jaws has this like realist aspect to it, or
that's
realistic.
The thing. Like, okay, like again, I fucking love John Carpenter. I love The Thing. I love Halloween. All these things, but like, that's never gonna happen to me.
Right.
Like, Michael Myers, I'm not scared of Michael Myers because that's... Like, you could get eaten by a shark, though.
Right.
That
exactly.
happens.
Like, once I would wake up from those Halloween nightmares, as intense as they were, and they were recurring, they lasted for a long time, and were very vivid and, upsetting while I was having the dream. When I would wake up from those and be like, okay, it's over, we're good. It was scary, but then, like, the Jaws ones, I'd wake up from those, and then I'd have this this post panic, where I'd be like, well, fuck, that shit could actually fucking happen. What the fuck?
Yeah. That's what's so effective about it. It's like, I'm probably some giant fucking golem's probably never going to try to kill me with a knife. But yeah, people get eaten by sharks. None of them as big as Jaws.
No,
certainly,
and it's like pretty infrequent, but it is possible. And again, especially Well, I mean, great whites in particular are where we were. We were in New England coast. I think it wasn't even actually like the Atlantic coast. It was a sound, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Because you got like Long Island. I think we were in between. I mean, it is the Atlantic coast, but point being, great whites aren't known to be up there. Any kind of fucking aggressive kind of shark. But regardless, it left that impression of this is the ocean. I knew it was the ocean, and we went there all the time. We swam. We went out into that all the time.
You know, we talked about because I'm kind of thinking back through the movie now, and I don't want this to just become a Jaws circle jerk. But we'll talk about other stuff too. But like, we had talked about possibly doing some recording like audio commentaries on movies. Jaws would actually be a really good one. I think like you and I are very familiar with it.
Yes.
That might be something we do at some point, because I'm kind of thinking about like all these specific scenes that I love from that movie, and like how I'd love to like go through and point out like how well that movie is done.
Yeah.
You know,
now that would actually be a good one.
That's a great one. We'll keep a running tab of some of these. You know, I'd love to have stuff to patch up holes where nothing's getting released of interest, but I just remember I keep thinking about there's a one scene where he told his kid to go into the little, because I think he said something about what did you say? It wasn't the ocean, it was the
sound.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know it's not the same thing, but like that got me thinking about that scene where Brody tells the son to go into the little thing to go play.
Yeah.
With his boat.
Yes. I already know exactly what you're talking about.
And it's like, oh, this scene's so good, and like what it culminates, it's like this tension building where they do the fake out, I think, with the kid with the shark fin on his head. And because I actually, this was like a month or so ago, my sister had never seen it, and I showed it to her. And there's an amazing scene where there's a guy in the like the shark is going into the little kiddie pool thing, like that little part of the water that his son's in.
Yes.
And you see like the fin, you know, and my sister starts freaking the fuck out. It's like, oh no, because the thing with that movie has giant brass balls because it literally kills a child like 20 minutes in.
And it's and actually one of my vivid memories of that sequence, or not sequence, the movie, is the aftermath of that sequence, which was like super emotional and shit. It's pretty brutal, actually, with the kid's mother.
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of like fucking blood and shit flying out.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a brutal scene in and of itself, and then it doesn't even let you just have that, oh, that was fucked up. Now it like pulls you into like the real fucking emotion.
Well, and I'll get back to the scene I was talking about, because now we're going down the rabbit hole, but it opens with that iconic kind of cold open, even though I don't think it's actually before the credits, where, you know, the naked girl gets eaten.
Classic.
Or whatever. Very classic. It's like the poster. But what I love and it's so ballsy, and it's something like Spielberg used to have like teeth. I don't think he really does much anymore because he's like an old man grandpa, which is fine. Yeah. But like, guy used to have balls, because like within first shark attack, a child and a dog get eaten.
They do, not on screen.
The dog is not on screen.
The dog
it's
not
heavily
on screen.
implied the dog got eaten, but we don't see that.
No, yeah,
the child straight up fucking does.
You watch. It has been a long time since I've seen the movie. But that's what impresses me the most about the movie. It's been so long since I've seen it, but a lot of these scenes are like super imprinted on my memory.
Yeah.
I think you see the kid get initially pulled down. Maybe not. Oh, no. I think you see like the shark vision going around, and it's coming up on the kid, and then it cuts to the beach view, and you see the raft get flipped and like a fin or something.
It's real far away, and it's a spooky fucking shot because you see like almost the entirety of the animatronic for like a split second.
Yeah.
So you get a sense of like the enormity of it, but it's real quick.
And then you just see blood, and that's pretty much it for the kid. But it is on screen, and it's brutal. It is actually brutal.
Fucking great. And okay, like that could have been tasteless if mishandled. But I think what he goes, I'm not playing around with you, motherfucker. Because what he does is he goes that far, and then you go, is this shark going to eat the main character's little son? He'll do it. It seems within the realm of plausibility.
Don't fuck with me. I might do it.
He might do it, and that's why he did that. That's, you know what I mean? Like, he was like, I'll kill anyone. Fuck it. Like, that's shocking. Because, like I said, he had giant fucking balls.
It was a kid. The kid was like 11 or something.
It was like even younger than that. It was like a tiny child. Like, the shark is an asshole.
He will eat a child.
Kid. He don't care. He's a fucking wild animal. So the shark goes over, and it's hard to. I know we were kind of. It's hard to tell because we don't have the visual medium. We used to do that. That other show where we filmed it, and I could cut in stuff if we were talking about a particular shot. But
I mean, I guess we could still technically do that.
I guess so. But it gets that guy. There's a guy that's right next to the boat, and there's this shot of the animatronic. You see it, like right below the water. And it's like an overhead shot as it like drags the guy under. And again, you can't really totally see it, but you get a sense of how fucking big the shark is. I don't know if you know the shot I'm talking about, but I love.
Are you talking about the guy when he pulls up to the kids?
Yeah, and then like,
and he's like, "What are you guys doing out here?"
That guy's death scene is great, and then you get the shot. I think is there a shot of like a leg hitting the floor? You see, because the kids are like in shock, and he's like talking to them, but they're not responding, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Blah, 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 whatever fucking New England accent. And then the boat gets knocked over, he gets thrown into the water, and he's trying to swim back. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you see the animatronic come up on him, and then he gets pulled on, and then you see the severed like lower half of the leg fall to the
fucking good
to the floor.
But like I said, it's so restrained and it's so tasteful, and like it's like raw and edgy.
Yep.
And like it's so good. Such a fucking great movie.
It really is. And it's funny to me because you have the factor that they have explicitly over and over again said how much of a fucking goddamn nightmare the movie was to make.
Because that's how New Hope was too. The shoot was a disaster.
Yeah.
But like, there's something about Jaws and A New Hope that feels like scrappy like that, because that shoot was so shit.
This grit.
Yeah. That is
just so good. So good. And then not to mention, not even like, I know we were trying not to get into a circle jerk about this movie, especially in particular, but then you have like these super fucking awesome iconic scenes, like I fucking can't for the life remember the actor's name, but Quinn talking about the Indianapolis and shit.
That's an amazing. That is
dude, so good.
That's Robert Shaw.
No, because I just know Richard Dreyfuss. I'm really sad that I don't remember Brody's name.
You don't remember Birdie's name? Roy Scheider?
Yeah,
And
that's
then
it.
Richard Dreyfuss.
So Robert Shaw, Roy Scheider, and Richard Dreyfuss. Okay, yeah. Robert Shaw's fucking monologue about the Indianapolis is one of the most haunting fucking, like, I don't know. It gives me, I don't know. I fucking love it.
I want to say that was either entirely or partly ad-libbed by Shaw.
It might have been.
I'm not completely sure about that. I'm kind of
the doors heard.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. There's somebody told me that once that was.
It might have been a drunken ad lib rant because he was drunk all the time.
Yeah, I heard Robert Shaw was just like
I heard he was
fucking
really
nightmare to work with. Yeah, that he's like an asshole to Richard Dreyfuss, but
which I can see, but it worked.
There's lots of fun facts about that movie. But so that Jaws, my opinion, one of the best movies ever made. It's not like one of those movies where you can just sit and go like, well, it's thematically the shark is, masculinity, or you can't really, but it's just
well, that's what I like about, because again, like I was saying,
you watch it and it's a story and it's fucking good.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying before. My strength is not in symbolism and themes and shit. I can admit I don't get that shit. That's not my thing. I like atmosphere and I know what I like. For me, it's very gut.
Well, that's why I think. Despite the fact that he's worth $3.7 fucking million or $1 billion, excuse me,
$3.7 billion.
$1 billion. I think Spielberg's underrated in a lot of ways because his movies aren't academic like that. They're not. You don't go, well, the shark is symbolic of Brody's masculinity. It's not. It's just it's a movie
fucking shark
about a shark that eats people, and then they get on a boat, and then they go kill the fucking shark. That's it. But it's so well done.
Phenomenal.
It's so the absolute best movie you can make with that concept. It's so riveting and well structured and well paced, and it's just like so. I would watch Jaws any fucking time. You say to me, "Yo, you want to watch Jaws?" And I'd say, "Fuck yeah, let's watch Jaws." It's so. Again, it's like it's easy to watch. You don't. It's like just fine craftsmanship. Yep. But I think Raiders is there too.
Raiders was my other one, sans JP.
JP.
That sans JP. That one again, like it is similar to JP in the sense that I couldn't recall for you the first time I ever saw it or anything, but it's so intricately and inherently ingrained in my childhood and nostalgia because we used to live by this library that had an actually impressive selection of movies you could just take out you would a book. Mm-hmm. So instead of going to Blockbuster, we just do that. And so basically it was impressive for a library, I'll put it that way. So it was still limited. And then so you had Raiders in there. Mm-hmm. So that was one that my dad especially we would always just get that. So I watched that movie fucking God only fucking knows how many times.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've seen Raiders.
Yeah. So that one, and I just fucking loved everything about it.
No, yeah, that's fair. I think Raiders is another one. I don't know what you could take out of Raiders. I don't know what you could add to Raiders to make it better. Like, I've kind of talked about Raiders before, and I always call it lightning in a bottle, where, like, I really like both of its, well, I guess, technically there's 3 sequels now. I always forget about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Do you do that?
Yes.
Do you just forget that movie exists?
Well, I
still consider it like a trilogy. I don't even remember that one got made.
I would say I considered it. This one's weird for me because no, I do remember Skull, but for me, it's more like I don't even want to say it's like an active decision to put it out, but it's just because okay, I'll put it this way. The original trilogy, 1 through 3, despite varying degree, you and I have talked about, we have a lot of sympathy for Temple of Doom.
Yeah, I really like Temple of Doom.
I always really enjoyed that one as well. And I really enjoy Last Crusader as well. I haven't seen that in fucking goddamn who knows how many years, but I enjoyed it at some point. I don't know. Sure. There was always just a distinct feel to it, so it's not so much that I forget Crystal Skull, it's more that I just don't associate it.
I mean, Crystal Skull's terrible, but, like, so is the prequels, and I usually think about those, but, like, I just, when I think about Indiana Jones, I think those 3 movies. But Temple of Doom I really like. Raiders is my least favorite of the 3, though it's still really enjoyable because it's just a copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's like the same movie.
Sure.
But you kind of watch Raiders and you watch the other 2, and I find both of them very enjoyable for different reasons. But Raiders has that... You get the feeling when you're watching it. There is something like some ingredient X in it that just like it's perfect. It's every. I watched it kind of recently. I want to say within the last 5 or 6 months, and I keep going. Here's this scene. Here's this scene. I hadn't seen the movie in years.
Yeah.
And like, oh, this part. Here's the part where Indy falls into the thing of snakes. Then he gets out, and here's the part where he fights the guy in front of the plane, and then the plane whips around, and then the guy gets fucking chopped up with the propeller. And, like,
right.
Here's the part where, he goes on the, that fucking awesome action sequence where they're on the trucks. It's just like... Yeah. Here's the part where he puts the staff in the thing, and then the laser beam comes out and tells him where that is. Or, I mean, that opening, which has nothing to do with the rest of it, is there not a more iconic 10 minutes in any kind of movie than that opening?
How many fucking times has that opener been, like, referenced in just pop culture?
Constantly. Like... probably the 2 most iconic shots in the movie are from that opener, which is Indy running away from the boulder.
Of course.
And him switching the sandbag with the little statue.
Of course.
I've seen done 800 fucking million times.
Dude, that shit was in fucking Rugrats.
Everything. It was in everything. And, like, it's exciting as fuck. It's
goddamn iconic as a motherfucker. Always.
But you just you wonder, like, what is it about this?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
he has this touch.
Well, that's what I was saying when I said earlier. Like, there's no way it's just because of the name attached to it. There's like a reason why it's so iconic, and like, what the fuck is that reason?
I think Raiders is the most memorable of the 3. I think that's like it's. I think Jaws is in my opinion the best. Or that's my favorite. I think it's the most well structured. It's the grittiest. It's the scrappiest. But Raiders is the most iconic, and Jurassic Park is the smartest of the three. Because Jurassic Park does have some like themes and shit.
Well, Jurassic Park
into if you wanted to.
To be fair, Jurassic Park is like a dream team effort.
Right. No.
If you ask me.
Well, Raiders and Jaws do not have. You can't go, well, they're talking about this. Raiders ain't about anything. Raiders is about, like, people getting punched in the fucking face by Harrison Ford. That's. I mean, you know that scene where the guy pulls the sword out and has a bunch of shit, and then Indiana Jones just shoots him? Like, that scene's awesome. And then every scene's like that. And you go, oh, here's another one. And then you're like, that scene was awesome. And it's just like that for like 2 hours. And then the movie ends and you're like, that was fucking awesome. There's not like... It's the one that's like hardest to discuss and criticize because I don't know what about it makes it the way it is. There's a mystique to the movie to me.
Yeah.
Where I'm watching it and I'm like, why do I love this so much? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, same. And I mean, I know there's a lot of nostalgia factor for me, but I mean, just like I'm sure there is with you and a lot of people, but it extends beyond that because I'm able to write, you know, like this is like a really weird comparison, but take All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Oh, okay. Sure, I'm with you.
You remember that Apples to Oranges review?
Sure.
Like, my point being, I'm able to distinguish, like, pretty pure nostalgia, like appreciation, or like nostalgic appreciation or something, where it's different because when we watched, like, All Dogs Go to Heaven, where, analyze it, whatever, and like you were saying for this, there's, like, the same level of, like, nostalgic kind of aspect of it. It's just this kind of raw, I don't know how to describe it, just love for something. And then, like you were saying, going back as an adult, say, when we watched All Dogs Go to Heaven, be like, oh, that's kind of weird or whatever, or this and that. And then, like, with Raiders just being like, nope, still fucking badass. That's still fucking on point. That's still on point. Like, I don't...
That one totally holds up. That's one of, if not the greatest action adventure movie ever made. It's just, but it's not. It's hard to look at it and kind of point exactly what makes it work.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what confuses me.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It's just so... It's so on point. And I remember... And like you said, it just... I've never met anyone who didn't like Indiana Jones. Who watched it and was like, that movie fucking sucks.
Like I said to you in text,
I never heard anyone say that.
Personally said anything... like, I could understand... I mean, I kind of don't, but I could accept someone being like, it's not my style.
I guess if you like
an
asshole.
Right. I've still never heard it, but like that's like I said to you, that's like I could fathom that.
Can you imagine such a thing? Sure.
But then on top of that, hearing someone say, like, here's reasons why it's like subpar is just so beyond my comprehension.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. Like, I love,
and
again, that he's done it so many, like, there's so many examples that you could try to do that with, and you fucking can't.
It is admittedly, because I watched Star Wars recently, and I was like, I watched all 3 of them, because I acquired HD versions of the non, like the theatrical versions.
Okay.
So I watched them again, and I haven't seen them without all that fucking shit added into them in like decades at this point.
Wait. I said okay, but I'm not on board. Did you say? You said you had high def versions of
the theatrical releases, yeah.
Of Star Wars?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I have those.
Were those put out?
No.
What?
Somebody
okay.
there's like a fan thing. They remade them.
Oh, okay.
They recreated them. You can I can give them to you if you want.
Sweet.
If you desire them. I gave them. I discovered it, and I gave it to some people in the chat. But I'm very happy to have those, and I watched them again, and I don't know if. Because I don't think that's the version I have, but like someone found like an original theatrical like film reel for the original one, and they like converted it into digital, and stuff like that. There's like different versions where you can find it if you look for it.
Like the totally unaltered shit.
Yes. Yeah, people have found a way to like basically like take the Blu-rays and get rid of all the crap he added.
Oh, okay.
Using like wizardry and shit. It's really impressive.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I thought that shit was like a pipe dream.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get the official release of those. Maybe now that Disney bought Fox, because Fox owns the distribution rights to the original trilogy still. Which means that Disney now owns the distribution rights to the original Star Wars, plus they just own Star Wars in general, so maybe we'll get it.
That would be smart.
I doubt it, but we'll see. So, I was watching those, and like, particularly the first 2, and particularly the first one, I was blown away by how good that movie is. How tight, like how just so tightly structured that movie is. And like, again, you were given exactly the information you need to know. The characters like pop and they're fun, and like the movie's fun as fuck, and it moves at like just a nice pace, not too quick, not too slow, whatever. And again, it's like one of the greatest action adventure movies ever made, and like this is like that, but I don't think I've sat down and really examined it as an adult. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've watched it a couple of times, probably since I was obsessed with it when I was 6. It was like that in Star Wars. Those were like my kid jams. That in Jurassic Park, probably. But, like, what I really like about his movies, and this is kind of interesting, because we're kind of talking about Jaws.
Kind of.
We kind of talked about Jaws. I think we talked about Jaws for an hour, by the way. We talked about Jaws for a little bit. There's Jaws. We were discussing this like Spielbergian era of blockbusters.
Yeah,
and it like there's Raiders obviously is in that thing, and Raiders is a fucking great movie, but Jaws to Jurassic Park, and we can kind of get into that, but I love that the movies move it at like this perfect pacing where it's not slow, It's not too quick either. I feel like you watch like a lot of modern movies and it's just like noise, 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 noise. You know, like wake up, motherfucker! Like it's like somebody dangling. It's like dangling keys in front of a baby's face. You know,
Right. Well, one thing I just thought of too with all three of them, I hadn't really thought of this. I don't know why, but they all have very super similar structure. They all start with like almost like a mini story that's like quick and it's engaging and you get like a payoff, and then but it's
exactly.
it lets you know what's going on, and you get like this almost like a full arc randomly real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So you're hooked in, and then they have a nice even keeled escalating. That just hit me out of nowhere.
No, well, yeah, that's
really
the
saw
structure. That's that Spielberg structure. Because the thing is, Jaws basically fucking invented the blockbuster. With Spielberg fucking invented that, and like that's the structure. That's what works. And I think we've gotten away from that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But like Star Wars, same thing. Start out with an action sequence.
Yeah.
Like immediately grip. You immediately grip the audience, and then you slow down.
Yep.
And like then for the rest of the first act, not a ton of action anymore.
No.
But we set the stage, and we're already interested because,
we got our first taste.
Girl getting eaten by the shark. I obviously, it's not a Spielberg movie, but just throwing Star Wars in there. The Tantive 4, like rebels and stormtroopers shooting.
And you got fucking with
Raiders
the most iconic
iconic opening of all time. You have the boulder.
And then you got the boulder.
Jurassic Park, you got the shoot her, guy gets eaten by a raptor.
Yep. I don't know why that never occurred to me before.
It's a structure that works. But that's what I like. That's what I like is that it has that structure. And I'm not saying every movie has to have the same structure, but
but it's just a really effective.
No, yeah, it works. It's classic fucking structure. You hook them and then you stop, and then what we do.
Yeah, I don't know movies.
Oh, okay. Well, you think about Raiders is that Raiders is not just action in your fucking face all the time. We cut from the boulder sequence, and that was important because we it seems like it has the less to do than the opening of Jaws and Jurassic Park, but it's a pretty kick-ass sequence. It introduces us to Indy, and it introduces us to Belloc, so that's important. So when he shows up later in the movie, we know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But then it cuts to him, teaching in college. And then it goes a little bit, the guys come in, they tell him what they need him to do, they tell him about the arc. We get a lot of information.
Yeah.
And, like, we saw that opening. So, like, we know it's coming. You're going to get some more of that shit. And finally, then I don't think we get another action sequence for a while. I don't think until we go to meet Marion Ravenwood. Then we get another one.
Again, I haven't seen it in a long time. Yeah. I feel I have again, surprisingly, in considering how long it's been since I've seen it, I do feel like I still have a pretty decent idea of how it plays out.
Sure.
And it's a lot of like...
But we don't get... I was talking about... I because I watched Jurassic Park like 3 weeks ago. I just sent you that text. That would be another great movie. And all three of these movies would be great commentaries because that T-Rex sequence is a masterpiece. It is 10 out of 10. I used to kind of have a problem with it because there's continuity errors with it. And there still are. in terms of like, it used to really bother me that the car flipped over and like fell down something, even though
Yes, but even though the T-Rex was right there and standing on
yeah,
something,
but
dude,
like
I actually along that used to bug the fucking Christ out of me too.
this
And I
latest time
looked
I watched it, I did not care. It's so beautiful. It has
just
the
it's so well
best
handled.
sequence in any of these three movies.
And it's funny too because I looked into it again. Like I'm in the same boat. I don't care
yeah,
that much to let it like bother me that
yeah.
severely
This is
anymore.
the one I watched most recently, and I'm gonna save this for later because I feel myself getting a little excited.
Okay,
Because I broke it down while I was watching it, and like I want to gush about that fucking sequence and just how it's one of the greatest just sequences in general in film history. But you go back to Raiders for a second.
okay,
But yeah, just in terms of talking about the general structure, you know who Indiana Jones is, you know what he needs to do. There's stuff like he goes to meet Marion. I don't remember why he goes to do that. This is the one I've watched. I have not watched this recently.
I don't remember. I just remember the drinking contest.
But I was going to bring that up. Is that like you introduced us to Marion beating a guy in a drinking contest, and then like that's so great. You know this character immediately.
She's a bad bitch.
And then it's even like a clever setup for later because she tries to outdrink Belloc, and she can't.
Yeah.
So it's like it's both like telling us about the character, it's doing double duty, and then it's like a fun setup for later. And like, what my favorite thing about Raiders and all the Indiana Jones movies, except for the most recent one, is how absurdly fucking violent they are. And like realizing how much I watched those as a kid.
They really are
So violent. Like outrageous. I can't believe my parents let me watch them.
Never really thought about that either.
Yeah.
Like again, even in that opening sequence, you got fucking impaled. What's his face?
Alfred Molina? Does he get impaled?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, they set that up because he puts his hand in front of the light, and then the spears come out, and then Alfred Molina runs back with the statue, and he gets impaled in him.
Yeah, he's like Indy passes him while he's like impaled and all dead.
Yeah, he like shoots the guy with the sword. The one guy gets fucking chomped up by like the blades on the plane.
Yep.
And then the blood sprays all over the
Just
carpet
everywhere.
window, and people's faces melt. The second one is ridiculous. It has like a guy getting, that whole weird quasi-racist sequence, which I actually I've always considered to be like a satire of racism, but I'm not gonna fucking get into that because I don't care. Yeah, they eating like monkey brains. That movie's disgusting. And then, do you remember that scene where they bring out the giant snake and then they cut it open and there's a bunch of other little snakes in it?
I actually do not remember that.
Yeah, it's fucking gross. And there's so many like disgusting bugs and shit. And then they like cut out that guy's heart.
Rip the guy's heart out. Then you got
the one guy gets crushed by the Indy like punches him, and then he like goes and gets crushed in that wheel thing. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that either.
Really? You need to watch Temple of Doom again, dude.
Yeah, I do.
The one guy gets he falls off a bridge and he gets eaten by an alligator.
That's the next one I was going to bring up. Even though you don't like super explicitly see, you see like the long fall down the cliff, and then I remember it just like randomly cutting to like alligators ripping apart meat. Which is brutal, but like you don't see him like as a person getting ripped apart.
But that's got to be, I think that thing at the end of Raiders where like they open up the ark Your faces melt.
Literally melts in front of your face.
But that's gotta be one of the most memorable, amazing effect sequences ever. It's so something
Spielberg
about the
was
movie.
brutal, dude. He
used to be. He used to
used to be
fucking
brutal,
nuts, dude. You remember in like Lost World when that guy got fucking torn in half? The two T-Rexes it tore that fucking guy in half.
And that was like, again, that's like one of those like unapologetic. Like Eddie was like the good guy. He was just like so selfless, and then he got the worst, just short stick shit end deal. Like
This is crazy.
He was like the nicest guy of all of them, and he got the worst fucking death in the attempt to save the fucking crew.
He tried to pull out the gun, and it got stuck in that stupid net, and then he got torn in fucking half.
And they fucking two T-Rexes teamed up on him, got him finally while he's trying to pull out the train. Oh my god!
See, and then people don't like that movie, but I enjoy it just because it's just a bunch of dinosaurs eating people. Like, I love that movie as a child, and I still enjoy it. Just if you want to watch like dinosaurs eat people,
exactly.
That's what that movie is.
Jurassic Park is like kind of fucking just really good movie, and then Lost World is a perfect follow-up cheese kind of thing.
Oh yeah, it's pure schlock.
But it's like really well done. It's like really cool. Like it didn't go into, for me. It didn't go into like actually take. I don't know how to describe it. I'm flustered now.
It's a
was
sequence
super fucking fun. It's just super fucking fun.
Steven Spielberg was like, what kind of scene could I have where a guy gets eaten by a dinosaur? And then it's just that played in sequence. There's barely even any kind of story. They're like, fuck it. It's like Jeff Goldblum's here and like 80 random extras. And then just think. I don't even know what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to go somewhere, but like...
I don't know. It's
just an excuse. It's just an excuse so that dinosaurs can eat a shitload of people.
But it works because it's not like your typical kind of like schlocky sequel mass carnage bullshit where it still has like heart to it and you still like feel bad.
Right.
Like
it's a well done schlock.
Yes. Yes.
And some people, like I said, some people don't like it. I'm gonna respectfully disagree, and I think that movie.
I think it's dope.
It's just a movie where, like I said, people get eaten by fucking dinosaurs, and sometimes you just want to watch a movie where a bunch of people get eaten by a fucking dinosaur. Yeah. So who gives a shit?
Dude, fucking what's his face? Russian guy. There's all kind. I don't know. They just managed to make it like you said, like kind of schlocky. Carnage, but there's still you still feel something with it. Like you're like, fuck, Eddie, no, why Eddie, and shit like that, and fucking Russian guy. Even though he was kind of a dick, but like you just like there's like power behind him being torn apart by like 50 compies. I don't
I like that one guy gets a snake. Leonard Skinner. He gets a snake in his...
he freaks out.
And he freaks out, and then the T-Rex picks him up, and then blood waterfall.
The blood waterfall. It's beautiful.
When he goes to T-Rex goes to fucking San Diego, and he's that guy who's trying to go to the Blockbuster.
As we have discussed.
Creative
backstory.
Yeah, or... there's just lots of guys get eaten by
compies. Just good.
Look, it's just...
It's just good fun.
Turn your brain off. Turn your brain off and watch it.
Turn your brain off, and they did it well.
Yeah. And, okay. But...
Anyway.
I feel like every time I try to, like, legitimately talk about Indiana Jones, I just start asking if you remembered all these cool sequences. Like, Because that's what the movie is. It's just like a series of cool ass things that happen, and I don't like. Do you remember in?
For example,
Do you remember in The Last Crusade when they had that motorcycle chase, and then Indiana Jones stuck the fucking stick in the guy's wheel, and then he flipped up in the fucking air?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm
This is like fucking 5-year-olds talking about it. Because it's like what the movie does. It makes me feel like I'm 5 again, and I enjoy that. It's just awesome. It's just like...
He just has a unique talent to fucking make super memorable, where you can live, even as an adult, as a kid. And you can just watch them.
I think
and there's... It's actually kind of difficult to nitpick it, even when you want to.
I think that, to me, that's the one that's the most like Spielberg-y movie ever made, is Raiders, because you can't even look at it there is something like unknowable about it. It's just like, because you can look at Jaws and you can look at Jurassic Park, and you can say, well, why does this movie work? And I can give you examples, but like Raiders is like pure Spielberg magic. It's like a movie only he could make. And I think that's why I always said it's lightning in a bottle. It can never be recreated. No one besides Spielberg could make Raiders.
Yeah.
And it's just there is a purity to it, and it's just he has this amazing talent for just creating shit that you remember.
Yeah, he took everybody's fucking like childhood fucking, I don't know how to describe it, not innocence, but like just that vibe and shit, and was like, I fucking dare you to come back in 20 years and say some shit about this. And then we're all just kind of like, I can't do it. I don't know how you did it, but I fucking can't do it. I don't know what to say.
Nobody else could ever do that. It's yeah, I think it's like, I think that's why I think of Jaws and I think of Jurassic Park, but I also think of Raiders, because that is like, I don't think that's the best movie he's made, though it's up there. Again, that's Jaws to me, but like, it is the most Spielberg-y movie ever made. It is Spielberg the movie.
Yeah.
It's just, and like, it's so violent and so magical, and yeah, there's not a ton else to add.
Nope.
Do you, Matt?
What?
Do you remember that scene? Do you remember when? I'm trying to think of another one.
You remember?
What else? What other scene have I not mentioned? Do you remember that scene where Indiana Jones, like what's like the super violent kill, and what does he have, like a fight with like a big ass henchman in Last Crusade? Remember Raiders, he fights the guy near the plane, and then Temple of Doom he fights the guy who gets crushed. Does he have like an extended fight with some guy in the Last Crusade?
I'm not sure.
Is the guy in the tank? There's a tank sequence which is pretty tight.
I don't really remember. Crusade, I just don't really remember the fucking other than fucking Sean Connery fighting, stirring up the pigeons.
Oh yeah,
to wreck the plane or whatever the fuck is going on.
Do you remember the scene, man? Do you remember that scene where the guy picked the wrong chalice to drink out of and he turned into a skeleton?
That's what I was thinking of.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's it. That's my
Can we move on?
well, what I wanted to do was I wanted to do like, can we split this into two parts?
What do you mean?
Because we have not even started talking about Jurassic Park yet, really. And I know that we're gonna have a discussion about fucking Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that's why I was looking at it, and I'm reading an hour and a half already. So unless you want to, I think we'll just split this into two. So that'll be I'll call that as part one. With Jaws, we talked about Jaws, we talked about Raiders. And we'll see what happens next time.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, okay. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone for now?
I'm sad.
Why?
I don't want to go to bed.
Wait, well, okay, well, man, that's the magic. See, you and I'm gonna stop this, and then we're gonna keep talking, and we're just gonna release it as two parts.
Oh, bet.
So you don't have to go to sleep, Matt.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna upload them as two separate videos. I just don't want to upload like a 3-hour video.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. Well.
All right, guys.
We'll see you next time. We'll see you for part 2. Okay? All right. Bye.
Bye.